Moving on, though, top 10 quarterback list heading into the 2023 NFL season, man. Do you want to start from one? Because I feel like...
Well, I think we can just get one out of the way and then just go from the bottom up. Because everyone's Patrick Mahomes. Like, you can't debate that.
We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you start because...
All right, so just, like, we're going, like, projection next season. Because, like, that's kind of how I made my list. Like, who I think will be, like, the best. Like, projection-wise. I didn't go off, like, talent or, like... Because I took into consideration, like, the schemes and, like, how teams are, like, everything.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, mine's kind of similar in a way, right. But...
Wait, whatever. We'll discuss it. Top 10 quarterbacks. Number 1 is Mahomes. We all know that. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. A tier above everyone else, so that is nothing really needs to be said. At number 10, I have Kirk Cousins.
Now, you watched QB?
I didn't. This was the hardest one for me, bro. I'm going to be real. It was between Kirk, Jared Goff, and then I also had Geno Smith in mind for this position at number 10. I think all of those quarterbacks are kind of similar, but I just gave the nod to Kirk just because he's been more consistent. We've seen Geno Smith last year was kind of his first year of, being productive. Jared Goff, we've seen up and down seasons from him throughout his career. Whereas Kirk Cousins, he's going to be consistent. You know what he brings. He's a solid quarterback, and I do think he is a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's put up numbers before. He's got Justin Jefferson out there. The Vikings are going to be a solid offense, and I think, as long as you're not in prime time, Kirk will be good enough, and he'll do enough, and he can lead this team to the playoffs, and he's led them to the playoffs before. So I think Kirk is a solid option. I think he gets too much hate, and then, this offseason you've seen things like quarterback that kind of showing love and stuff. People mad that Justin Jefferson didn't name him a top 5 quarterback. He's not a top 5 quarterback. Top 10, sure, I got him at number 10. So I'm going to rock with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I was kind of struggling with number 10, and then I just decided, what am I even doing, man? I mean, I just got to be honest with myself at this point on this list. So it might ruffle some feathers here, but number 10, man, I got big for Deshaun Watson, man, coming in at 10. You said coming in, into the future, into this season. Obviously, right now, not a top 10 quarterback in this league. Hasn't shown it since he's come back from, being away from football, the injury, and then last season, the off-the-field issues. So he hasn't played well. I think he played 6 games last year, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. So not great numbers overall, but you could kind of see progressions, really wasn't there. The system now, we're buying into this is Deshaun Watson's kind of system. You go out and get Elijah Moore. They didn't have a true number 2 wide receiver in Cleveland. Was playing in a lot of snow games, still adjusting. Full offseason to prepare and everything like that. So I got Deshaun Watson at that 10 spot, man. And to be honest, I think at the end of the year, he might even be higher. This is just me. I had to.
I feel like he could definitely finish higher if he's anywhere near what we saw him in Houston. Yeah, then he'll be at the top. But
I know it's going to ruffle some feathers right
I mean, I kind of figured you'd put him somewhere in here, so I'm not really mad at it. So at number 9, I have Dak Prescott. Now, being a fan of the Eagles, I don't like Dak Prescott. I don't like anything about the Dallas Cowboys, but I got to give credit where it's due. And I think Dak is a top quarterback in this league. Now, is he one of the elite or one of the best? No, but Dak Prescott is a quarterback, kind of like Kirk Cousins, but I think he gives you a little bit more athletic. You kind of know what he's going to give you game in, game out. The turnovers are kind of questionable. I'll send you the clips. I mean, they're everywhere on this offseason. Dak throwing picks, but he's never really been that big turnover guy throughout his career. Last season was kind of an anomaly, but, I mean, they still concern you. Some of the decisions he made, especially like in that Jacksonville game last season, not really the best, but at the end of the day, Dak Prescott is an accurate quarterback. He's got the weapons on the outside. That offense has always been really good. A solid O-line in front of him, and I think Dak Prescott is the number 9 quarterback in the league. He's solid.
Yeah, man. I mean, I said I was going to ruffle some feathers. I didn't just mean with the 10 pick. Number 9, I got Aaron Rodgers, man. You know, a lot of hype coming into this season. Hard Knocks, Jets, finally getting out of Green Bay. Got the weapons around him. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall coming back. You got, the defense is top tier. Now, will the Jets be a playoff team? Probably. Yeah, no doubt. But Aaron Rodgers, his job at this point, I mean, if the Jets had a decent quarterback last year, they'd probably make the playoffs and, could go on a run. So his job's not that hard, in my opinion. I mean, he's got to go out there and compete, obviously. But that defense is a main focal point, especially with Robert Saleh, defensive-minded head coach, coming over from San Fran. So it's like Rodgers at that 9. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to be an MVP. He's just got to limit turnovers, kind of have a season like he did last year in Green Bay, which by far wasn't a top 10 season, but surrounded by a better team, more weapons around him. I got him at the 9 spot. I just like a lot of these guys, a lot younger on this list, and, Rodgers only getting up there with age. And I don't think he's going to age like Brady did to where he's winning, being the main focal point of a Super Bowl.
Yeah, at this point, we know Rodgers isn't Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say, because I thought I have Aaron Rodgers at 8. I'm going to just say that. But I didn't think it was a pick to ruffle feathers to have him here. I mean, still a top 10 quarterback. Like you mentioned, I just like these younger guys with, I know I didn't say like talent, but they have more talent and the positions and stuff. But I think what you said was really, really good. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to, put on MVP performances for this Jets team to be good. I had this Jets team winning like 10 or 11 games, and I think that's because of the talent around Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think he'll have to be, a quarterback on the level of Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow. I think Aaron Rodgers will just have to kind of let the talent around him carry him, get the ball quick to Garrett Wilson, hand it off in the backfield to Breece Hall. He's got Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, all these names he's familiar with. And like you mentioned, that defense is going to be really good. So it's not going to be a lot on Aaron Rodgers. Now, he is playing for the New York Jets and the New York media, and everyone has expectations. So I do think there'll be a lot of pressures on Aaron Rodgers, but he's going to be 40. I don't know what number season is this for him. I don't know. He's been in the league forever. He's older, so, the arm talent, the mobility, the stuff like that may take a slight step back, but I think Aaron Rodgers at this point, he's seen everything the NFL can throw at you. He's still an elite processor of the game. He's still going to be able to make some of those crazy throws. I just don't think, talent, athletic-wise, he'll be on the same level as the quarterbacks ahead of him. I think he'll still have a solid, really good season, so I got him at number 8.
Yeah. And for my number 8, I know this is where me and you are going to have some disputes. I got your boy Justin Herbert. He's a number 8 ranked quarterback in this league. And you're laughing. I mean, you could say 27-0, whatever. Regular season, he's struggled at some points. Really looked like a shell of what Justin Herbert can be. And obviously one of the most talented quarterbacks in this list. And he could definitely move up. But I got him at number 8, man. I'm just never been as high as you when it comes to Justin Herbert. I still think there's other guys better than him. I don't see him at this point, higher than 8. I mean, 8's still really good.
Okay, so what is the main reason you don't think Justin Herbert is good? Like, what's his limitation?
No, he's good. He's number 8.
No, I'm saying, why don't you get, like, what is his limitation? He's got no clutch gene. No clutch gene?
No.
What do you? I don't understand what you mean
against
by no
the Jaguars. You're telling me the Jags defense.
He wasn't on defense and let up all of those points in the second half.
How many turnovers did he have in the second half?
How many?
2
turnovers.
Yeah.
Okay, and Trevor Lawrence had 4. Like, I don't understand. That's not his fault, bro. Justin Herbert has been let down by the Chargers organization. The talent around him has never been up to par. The defense has not been good at all. The Chargers. When is the last time the Chargers have had a good defense, a competent defense?
90s?
All these, every single name you list above him, I guarantee you, they've had better teams and weapons around him. So, like, if we're talking about pure talent, just like being able to throw the football and a better team this year, they finally have an offensive coordinator that'll let the quarterback with arguably the strongest arm in the league throw the ball down the field. Justin Herbert, well, there's not 7 quarterbacks better than Justin Herbert in the NFL. I'm sorry, bro. There's just
he's made one playoff appearance. Like you could say all about the team, but at the end of the day,
he's going into what, his 4th year?
Okay, but you're acting like he should be higher than some of these other guys who have won playoff games that have led their team to conference championships. Now, one of them I know you're going to disagree with, but it is what it is.
Well, it's not going to matter because this upcoming season, he's going to get arguably 1 or 2 playoff wins. Justin Herbert, bro, there's no way Herbert's the 7th best quarterback or 8th best quarterback in the league. I just think he's talented than a lot more of these other. If you put Justin Herbert in every single position of the quarterbacks you name above him until like the top elite, he's going to be better.
Okay. I mean,
like I'm just like
number 8. We'll see when we play, 17 games this year, what Justin Herbert's got in store for us. But 8 is not bad, man. I mean, it's top, I don't know what percent. I'm not a math guy, but number 8, I think that's rightfully so for Justin Herbert, man. So I got Herbert at 8.
Yeah, that's a little low. But at number 7, I have former league MVP Lamar Jackson. Now, the big knock for Lamar is health. He hasn't been able to finish the last couple seasons. He's been banged up. He had his amazing MVP year and then has kind of slowly declined health-wise after that. You can say question marks about, his accuracy, him throwing the ball. He's led the league in touchdown passes before. And then his explosiveness on the ground. Outside of Justin Fields, maybe if you want to argue Jalen Hurts, he's the most explosive runner with the football in his hands at the quarterback position. The talent is there. The new scheme is there. The weapons are around him this year. And I think if he's fully healthy, Lamar Jackson will be successful in Baltimore. So I got him as the 6th best quarterback.
So now, other than health, is Lamar better than Herbert?
No.
Okay.
At being a quarterback, no.
All right.
Justin Herbert is a way, way better passer, better arm strength. He's more accurate. In pure passing situations when it's 3rd and long and you have to throw the ball to make a play to keep the game alive. I want Justin Herbert throwing the ball. I think Lamar is more athletic. He's better at running, and maybe if you want to talk about like overall and adding athleticism, he's a better athlete than Justin Herbert. But in terms of in the pocket throwing the ball, I don't think he's in the same league.
It's not just about being in. I asked you who's a better quarterback.
It's Justin Herbert.
All right. I mean, does Herbert have an MVP?
Well, we're talking about right now. We're not talking about 2019 when Justin Herbert was still in college.
Anyways, man, my number 7 is the guy who knocked down Justin Herbert. And I got T-Law, man. I got T-Law at the 7th spot. Going out there in Jacksonville, expectations, after the abysmal Urban Meyer start to, Trevor Lawrence's career, kind of derailing him, not really having a coach for most of the time. Finally gets in the system. They finally get some wins. Trevor Lawrence, arm talent. I think he's up there with the best. Andrew Boy Herbert when it comes to arm talent and being able to deliver the ball. You mentioned those, turnovers in the playoffs. Obviously, something that's going to need to be cleaned up. They go out and obviously got Calvin Ridley, who now is able to play football due to not being suspended anymore. And you're the one that sent the clip of him on the ladder drill, or maybe not the ladder drill, is him running routes and just how much faster he is. I mean, Calvin Ridley was a top talent in this league outside. You had him to T-Law. I just think, T-Law at that 7th spot, him and Herbert, kind of near the same wavelength in my opinion.
Yeah, so for number 6, I have Trevor Lawrence, and I think he'll eventually be a lot higher than this. But as of now, the guys I put ahead of him, I kind of did the, if I put this quarterback on my team, would I take him over, the current quarterback? And it was close. I really like Trevor Lawrence. The arm talent, like you mentioned, top prospect coming out of Clemson. I mean, it was so weird what Urban Meyer did, and then you give him Doug Peterson, a winning football coach, and you kind of see how he's able to produce. Down the stretch last year, You could argue he was the best quarterback in the league. He has the arm talent to, make all the throws on the field. You mentioned added some weapons around him. Solid running game with ETN. The defense is okay, but, in terms of just being a quarterback talent and where I think they'll finish next year, I think Trevor Lawrence at 6 was, I don't want to say a low kind of ranking for me, but it was conservative. Trevor Lawrence at 6 is conservative for me. I think he has talent to be one of the top quarterbacks, but still young, still learning. So I think 6 is a good spot for him right now.
Yeah, so at number 6, I got a guy that you didn't put on your list at all, which kind of disrespectful because when he was on the field, he was easily up in the MVP conversation. I got Tua, man, at that 6th spot. Obviously last year, the freak injuries. We were at the game where they were chanting MVP, and you were like, no way. And but anyways, man, Tua, you saw that deep ball connection. You saw games against the Ravens where he was able to come back early on in the season. We talked last week how he struggled against the Chargers in that game, probably his worst game ever. And then he struggled on Christmas also against the Packers down the stretch as well. But other than a few games, Tua, he was literally dropping back. I think they were throwing passes over 70% of the time. He was hitting all his spots. He was threading the needle. And, the question of his arm talent was really on display of him underthrowing Tyreek Hill. Well, I think if you're not Patrick Mahomes, you're going to underthrow Tyreek. And even Patrick did it in Kansas City a lot. Just Patrick has a way better arm, so no one would ever question it. But, Tua for the 6th spot, take away health, injuries, whatever, just, pure talent. If he's on the field 17 games out of the year, I got Tua in that 6th spot.
Bro,
QB.
So Tua hasn't won a playoff game?
No, what
is he better at being a quarterback than Justin Herbert?
Well, considering he was literally injured last year and couldn't walk probably.
Okay.
With
Herbert had broken ribs.
Major brain injury. Listen, I'm just saying, man.
Okay, so injury, what is Tua better at? Injuries aside, they're both fully healthy. Why are you taking Tua?
Tua's a winner.
Okay, because he has arguably the fastest skill room in the league around him.
Yeah.
So, do you think the Dolphins will be better if you insert that team, just put Justin Herbert instead of Tua?
Yeah. Well, no.
No, you were right.
No.
Yes, they'd be better.
That's why they drafted Tua over Herbert.
And that's why Brian Flores was very upset
Brian Flores
and benched Tua his entire rookie year because he
you
knew.
You see where Brian Flores is at right now, man.
He's the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, I believe. But
defensive
regardless,
coordinator, key.
Well, he was right talent-wise that they should have taken Justin Herbert instead of Tua.
Well, I got Tua at the 6.
Okay.
Who would have been an MVP possibly if he didn't get hurt last year. And
you could say the same for Herbert. He could be an MVP if he isn't injured.
All right.
At number 5, I have Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm an Eagles fan, and I love Jalen Hurts. He's, my favorite team's quarterback. I think he's really talented, but I do think he has limitations, and I think the scheme and everything around him really, really helps. If you put Jalen Hurts, for instance, on the Chargers, is he a top 10 quarterback like Justin Herbert is? Is he a top quarterback like Joe Burrow is when he came into the Bengals when they were a mess? I'm not too sure. Jalen Hurts has everything that he needs to succeed around him, but he does have that winning, that dog mentality. He elevates the team around him as long with, the team helping elevate him. The running ability, we know how good he is athletically. In every single year he's been in the league, he's progressed as a thrower. I believe he continues to progress as a thrower. The reports in training camp saying he's been amazing. I believe he hasn't thrown an interception yet in training camp. He's been really, really improving with accuracy. Having Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown really helps. But I think, there are limitations on Jalen Hurts' arm talent-wise, but I believe he'll continue to make strides. And I think it's his mentality that kind of has him up here as a top 5 quarterback in the league. So I got Jalen Hurts at number 5.
I think that's a little bit low. Like I said, I came in here to ruffle feathers.
All the quarterbacks ahead I have ranked ahead of him. I thought I'd rather have them or Jalen Hurts on my team. So the names above I think would be better.
All right,
or are better.
Someone was talking about maybe it was Kirk or Brock Purdy. I don't know what NFL player it was, but at the end of the day, this is football, and football games are hard to win. So if you're a quarterback and you're going out there and winning, what more could you ask for?
But I don't think winning is a quarterback stat. It's a team game.
Who takes the loss, when a team loses? It's the quarterback.
Well, I mean, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are like just going out there like single-handedly winning games. You need a team around you.
I mean, yeah, of course you need a team, but
like if you look at like the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, he's always had a top 10 defense. Bill Belichick has been known.
Has he ever had really weapons? Has he ever?
He's had Randy Moss.
He had Randy Moss for how many years? Just a couple.
Yeah, no, he had Randy Moss that 1 year, and they went undefeated and beat every single team and only lost in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So, Tom Brady's had Wes Welker. He's had Gronk, arguably the best tight end of all time. A very, very physical presence in the red zone.
But who made these? This is Tom Brady making these guys, though. Like, I mean, obviously talented Rob in his own respect. Wes Welker had a career in Miami before. Was he like he was in New England? No, not even close. So
okay, but it's still talent. Wes Welker was talented in Miami. He's just in that New England system. Like, bro, name any quarterback, bro.
Like I said,
Joe Montana, all those quarterbacks for the 49ers. Oh, why were they winning? Because they had Hall of Famers everywhere on the defense. Jerry Rice catching passes.
Why are they?
Winning isn't just for a quarterback stat, bro. Like, winning is important. Quarterbacks are the most important, position on the field. So they do play a big part in winning games. But when you just say, oh, like, this quarterback wins games, like, it's more than just that. Like, is Kirk Cousins a winning quarterback? He won like 11 one-score games last year. Like, you wouldn't say that about Kirk Cousins.
He won 11 games, bro.
So why don't you have Kirk Cousins in the top 10? He wins.
Because I think Deshaun Watson is going to be better this year and lead him to more wins than Kirk Cousins this year.
That's a bad argument, because Kirk Cousins, although he's a solid quarterback, he has a good team around him. He has Justin Jefferson, arguably the greatest receiver, on pace to be the best receiver of all time, breaking all these records. But, like, he has help around him. All these quarterbacks, everyone that you think, like, all these teams have help around them, bro. Like, you can't just say winning. It's not fair for a quarterback that has talent and could be a lot better than they are when the situation around them isn't as good.
You could have said Jamarcus Russell had all the talent in the world, but he was never a good quarterback because he had no talent around him, bro. He was a bust. No,
Jamarcus Russell was a bust because of his mentality. We all know the story. Okay, we heard about what happened with Jamarcus Russell.
But
the famous "Did you watch film?" story. Like, come on, bro.
It was a bad analogy, bro. But it comes down to winning. I think no matter what you think, you got to have a team around you. But the quarterback is the focal point day in and day out. They're the only player touching the ball every snap. They're the only player that knows every single read on the team. They're literally the heart and soul of a team. A quarterback goes down. Now, the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, Nick Foles stepped up and played really well at quarterback. Now, how many teams have actually won with backup quarterbacks out there? You can't, because you need a good quarterback. What happened when they had no quarterback? I mean,
that's because they didn't have a single quarterback.
Exactly.
But they had Brock Purdy, the number 6 pick in the draft. And he had arguably the best roster. And people were saying they had a chance to make the Super Bowl.
They did.
So is Brock Purdy a top 10 quarterback? No.
Who knows? He could have been.
No, Brock Purdy is not a top 10 quarterback, bro.
Who knows?
The talent around him. I agree. Quarterbacks are the most important part of winning, but I don't think winning is solely on the quarterback.
Okay, but you got to admit that winning tips the scales to the quarterback. You can't.
Yes, you do have to win games, but I don't think it should be.
So if the Chargers went out there and won 4 games this year, is Justin Herbert still your number 3 quarterback?
Well, I mean, if he's still putting up, the numbers he has been putting up, and I think he's like the all-time leading passer at this point in his career. and this year. So, I mean, if he's still out there putting up numbers, but no, if Justin Herbert goes out there, underperforms, throws interceptions, isn't like careful with the football, then no, he isn't a top quarterback anymore. But if he isn't being helped by the Chargers and he's still playing really, really well, then you can't knock him. I get what you're saying. Yes, you have to win games as a quarterback.
I mean,
but I don't think it should be weighed as heavy as, is this quarterback good or not? Does he win? Yes or no? Oh, he wins? He's good. Does he win? No, he's not. I think you got to take into consideration of the situation and everything around them when you're talking about how good a quarterback is. Yes, wins do matter. You have to take them in consideration, but I don't think they should be the sole factor like you're saying, where it's like, oh, why isn't Justin Herbert good? Oh, he doesn't win. He doesn't have a clutch gene. Like, that's
just why I got him at the 8. Bro, I'm not saying Justin Herbert's a bad quarterback. All of these guys at some point you could honestly be at the end of the season, you could be like, okay, this guy could flip-flop with this guy, at least through, the majority of the middle, the backpack of this roster, or what it lists, whatever you want to call it. So I get what you're saying.
But you have to agree, even in the top 10, like at some point, there's like a tier or a break in terms of talent and how good these guys are. Like, yeah, all these quarterbacks are top 10, but I don't think Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow are in the same tier. Like, I think there's definitely a break in terms of talent. So when you have Herbert that low, you just don't think he's as talented or as good as other quarterbacks.
Okay. I mean,
because if you're going off just winning, like, I understand having that winning. Low, but
obviously if Herbert is a great quarterback skill-wise. That's not a question. But all these guys are great quarterbacks skill-wise.
I mean, I think there's a gap between, I would say between, it's tough. I don't know. I get what you're saying, but
it really is. Maybe it's because I'm a Herbert hater, but whatever.
Man, you think he's a social media quarterback, right?
I mean, he is a social media quarterback, bro. He just looks good out there, man. Like,
for sure, dog.
Number 5, I think. You just did number 5, right?
Tua. Yeah. Who you got at number 5? Well,
no. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I said Jalen Hurts was my number 5 quarterback.
Yeah. And I said it was too low. I got Josh Allen, number 5. Obviously, we know his talent. And one of the best arms in the league. He could throw in any type of weather. Great for Buffalo. But it's kind of concerning to me when you got your star wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, saying, we got the guys, we got the coaches. Why isn't it working? Well, Josh Allen, your boy Brian Dable, made his best season of his career. It could have been a coaching thing. Can it be Josh Allen slinging the ball 80%? Sure. Maybe if he wasn't, would he be a little higher? Maybe. But talent-wise, number 5, I mean, tremendous athlete, can run. We've seen him. He's gotten the big moments. Literally almost beat Patrick Mahomes at the biggest stage. Now
he did everything he could. That was on the defense.
I kind of, in that situation, and I'm about to contradict myself later in this list, and you're about to.
I know, bro, because that's not how you should rank them. But go ahead.
Anyways, I mean, just the turnover is obviously an issue. Got to clean that up. His decision making, and just ability to limit those has not been there at all. Whether it's even the quarterback sneak against the Vikings where he couldn't get it out the end zone when they were at the 1. Just a small sloppy plays that really doesn't really take skill. I mean, he has the skill. It's just the little things he doesn't excel at, the attention to detail. So that's kind of why I got him at the 5. Definitely wasn't talent, but just the little things I don't think Josh Allen's yet really gotten and grasped in the league. But still, obviously, one of the better talents in this league.
Yeah, and I'm kind of right there with you. I have Josh Allen as number 4, and this is the name I kind of flip-flop back and forth at 4 and 5 between Hurts and Allen. But like you mentioned, what gave Allen the nod to me just over Hurts a little bit is because we've seen him carry teams before where, Josh Allen has made plays through the air and on the ground to kind of put his team over the edge. With Jalen Hurts, it's a system, and he's elite in the system, and I think he'd be productive at this point in his career, the way he's, elevated his play throughout the years. I think he would work on pretty much any team, but in this Philadelphia system, Jalen Hurts is elite, whereas Josh Allen, he is the system in Buffalo, and the talent is there. I mean, arguably the strongest arm in the league. I think Mahomes is the only person, maybe Herbert, but in terms of just throwing the ball, throw power, throw distance, Josh Allen has all the tools, can make every tight window throw, isn't afraid, to take hits, can beat you from the pocket and from outside the pocket, excuse me. We saw how he likes to run over players, get outside. Josh Allen he has all the talent, but like you mentioned, turnovers are kind of an issue. He does kind of like to gamble and go for that big play, and at times that can hurt you. Isn't the cleanest with the football, so turnovers are an issue. Fumbles the ball a little bit, but if he can clean up those turnovers, but I don't think he ever will. It's just kind of the player he is, the running gun, high risk, high reward, kind of go for it all gambler type of quarterback. Still super talented, still really, really able to, just go out there and win games. So I got Josh Allen at number 4.
At my number 4, man, I got a guy who I don't like to watch play at all, and I thought you ranked a little low in Lamar Jackson, former MVP. You mentioned the health. Set aside the health, full season, if he's healthy, I think he could even go higher than, the number 4 quarterback. Yeah, obviously accuracy not there, maybe arm strength, but, I mean, that's just not his game. Mike Vick, he had a strong arm. Was he the most accurate at times? No. But he could get it down there more than Lamar did, and Vick was considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league at the time. And you just watch this guy play. I mean, the systems ran through him. You mentioned the system, like Josh Allen. Well, he is the system. It's not like it was Lamar Jackson's show. We got a new offensive coordinator over there in Baltimore, probably going to see more gun sets than the pistol, 2 tight end, 2 receiver formations that they're used to. But, I mean, I watch this guy put the pads on, and when he's on the field, the Ravens are literally one of the best teams in the NFL. I think when he's on the field, their win-to-loss rate drastic, very drastic. I still don't think, the Ravens didn't want to pay him last year, and Lamar, if he had gotten paid last year, Lamar would have been on the field for the Ravens, and they would have been a playoff team, possibly, competing late in the year. They decided not to pay him at the time, wait till the offseason, then they pay him. So now it's kind of like, all right, now he's your guy. He's bought in. If, it's a lot of ifs, but you can't play ifs with health and, quarterback list. So that's why I got Lamar 4. I just seen him dice up, so many defenses, whether, scrambling and just being able to chuck the ball downfield to vicinity of the receiver. It's just the defense attracts to the runner, and he's able to make plays. And I think that, sometimes the legs, create the arm for him. So it's just something you got to watch out for. I think he's the number 4 quarterback, and I just, I think the injuries have really derailed his true value.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned already about Lamar. I think, athletic-wise is the reason he's even able to be able to be in the top 10. And I think he's a really good passer. Just the only reason I don't have him, a little bit higher is because I think everyone I listed above him is elite or is projecting to be a better thrower of the football than Lamar. But, yeah, you mentioned athletic-wise, you can't take anything away from Lamar. So coming in at number 3, I have the 8th best quarterback in the league, Justin Herbert.
Quarterback.
I kind of already said everything I want about Justin Herbert. I know I mentioned before I didn't do it just based off talent. This is kind of a projection, but in terms of talent and having all the tools and being a prototypical quarterback in the NFL, Justin Herbert really has everything you're looking for in a modern day quarterback. He's big, has all the arm talent. He's athletic enough to move around and run and be mobile outside of the pocket. I mean, the only thing holding Justin Herbert back at this point is what you mentioned is wins. He doesn't have a playoff win. The Chargers at times can kind of, underperform on the big stage. And I agree with you. That's a thing. And I think going into this year with the new system, improved weapons, Austin Eckler's in the backfield, an elite running back we talked about. You want to see him take steps into becoming a better winner and a better player at the quarterback position. And I think we'll see it. We haven't, been let down by Justin Herbert yet at this point in his career. I think maybe this year they could win 2, maybe even 3 playoff games if everything goes correct. But in terms of, just dropping back, passing the ball, moving, doing everything you need a quarterback to do, processing defenses, everything, I think Justin Herbert has it, and I got him as the 3rd best quarterback in the league.
And while you had it, I would compare Herbert to kind of like this generation's Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, the talent's there. Obviously, the skill's there. And the reason Rodgers isn't better than Brady's, not just like numbers. I mean, if you put the numbers, they're probably similar. I mean, Brady played more years. And, but it was the wins for Rodgers versus Brady and the amount of Super Bowls. So I could see Herbert, kind of being like the Rodgers of, one of the great talents that maybe should have won multiple Super Bowls. But, we'll see
if that's it. I agree, and that's a solid comparison. But in terms of Rodgers, he's up until last year, he's never been the 7th best quarterback in the league.
No.
Like, if that's his comparison. So,
I mean, maybe a couple years he'd be like 5 or
Aaron Rodgers, when he was at the peak, when it was him and Brady, he was always considered a top quarterback.
I mean, yeah, top 5.
He wasn't 5. It was It was always Brady, then maybe Manning, and then you maybe want to throw in Rodgers. I don't think Breeze has ever been better than Aaron Rodgers.
Nah, I think they were using a conversation for a couple of years. If you're just looking at pure, numbers, I mean, Drew Brees is up there.
All right. I get what you're saying. He's been in the conversation. I get it.
I give Herbert one more year, and maybe I just T-Law beat him out. I had to put T-Law ahead of him. You could say it's not a quarterback game, but the big stage, whatever. Now here's where I'm really gonna ruffle some feathers, and I'll get to the reasoning probably when I hit the number 2 player. But number 3, I got Joe Burrow, and here's why. I mean, Joe Burrow, obviously great, talented quarterback. You could say the O-line hasn't been there for him. That's why he struggled at some points. Well, he's got, arguably 2 of the best receivers. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, probably not going to be able to pay him both. Defense is a little bit shaky. They do have a bit of a pass rush. And Joe Mixon, one of the better running backs people consider in the league, who I really don't buy into. So I give Burrow more credit than, of working with Mixon in the backfield. But great talent. He's got good arm, good presence in the pocket. The time in the pocket probably hasn't been there all the time, but I got Burrow 3, and I really just don't want to dive into it until I speak on the number 2.
All right. Well, I have Joe Burrow as my 2nd quarterback, and I think, excluding Patrick Mahomes, because I don't think it's just fair to compare any of these quarterbacks to him. In terms of, having that clutch gene or having that it factor, I think Joe Burrow has that the best out of everyone on this list. And when you mentioned Tom Brady, and in terms of, having that, clutch gene, that coolness under pressure, I think Joe Burrow is the closest we've seen to that in recent years. Always performs well under pressure. Is a very talented quarterback, but doesn't have the super, super crazy arm like the Josh Allens, like the Justin Herberts, like the Patrick Mahomes. But his arm is good enough. He's super accurate. Can make every throw on the field, just not those crazy throws like some of the other quarterbacks. But like you mentioned, with the weapons around him, he doesn't need to make those crazy throws. He can make any throw he needs, get it to Jamar Chase, get it to T. Higgins. And I do think Joe Burrow is a good enough quarterback to kind of carry his teams. And we've seen him go head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes, beat him. We've seen him go into Buffalo, beat Josh Allen. Winning is, like I mentioned, is not everything, but Joe Burrow has an ability to win football games, and that's important. That's big. That matters, because at the end of the day, winning matters. So I got Joe Burrow at number 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the tear after the ACL, bouncing back, getting to the stages that he brought him to, obviously it's got to carry some type of weight. Now, at number 2, I got your boy Jalen Hurts. Now,
I like this. Yeah,
yeah.
Eagles propaganda. Let me hear it.
So, I mean, I really thought I did some deep thinking for probably 3 hours today at work, man. And I was like, I had Hurts 3, I had Burrow 2. If we're just talking pure talent, but Jalen Hurts, I mean, he came into the league not as the guy. Everyone doubting him. Maybe he had a chip on his shoulder, pressure wasn't there, as opposed to Burrow came in as the one, got hurt, and had to climb his way back up to stardom. But Jalen Hurts, I mean, we talked about it all year long in games where they're like, the offense might not be able to score. Well, he comes out and he throws for 3 touchdowns. Then the next game, he might go rush for 100 yards. And the only other person that in the league that I think that could do it like him is maybe Lamar Jackson to a certain extent. You know, you mentioned.
In terms of running and throwing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Lamar being a former MVP.
Would you throw Josh Allen in that conversation?
Josh Allen is in that convo, yeah, for sure. But more reckless than Jalen Hurts, probably more with Lamar. I mean, but Lamar's probably not lowering his shoulder like Josh Allen, taking dumb hits like him. But they're in the same category for sure. And that's why you see all of them in the top 10. When you're dual threat and at a skill level they're able to, I mean, it just makes them so dynamic. Defenses having to guard an extra man on the field just makes it harder. But I mentioned in those key games where, you know, maybe the defense didn't step up. What did they go out and do? They put up 40 or whatever it was, and Jalen Hurts has a game. And, yeah, sure, maybe the run game took out the pressure off for Hurts. Well, they get to the Super Bowl, and if you had said Jalen Hurts is rushing for 3 touchdowns, you'd probably say the Eagles probably win the Super Bowl. He throws for 300 yards, rushes for 3 touchdowns. I think he had 1 turnover, right?
Yeah, I believe he had the fumble. He fumbled, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that,
he threw a touchdown as well.
Biggest stage, yeah. So 4 touchdowns in a game. The biggest stage, he went out and performed, and it really wasn't his fault for losing the Super Bowl. And you could say, oh, yeah, he snuck in 3 of those rushing touchdowns. Well, why can he sneak in? It's because that's what he's good at. Good coaches call plays for their players in the best moments. Tom Brady, he was one of the better ones at QB sneaking as well. Was he as athletic as Jalen Hurts? No, definitely not. But when they get to that, they call it the 97%. It's because Jalen Hurts is so big and physical at the quarterback position. He played with the banged up ankle, like you defend your boy Justin Herbert with the broken ribs.
Yeah, he had a shoulder too.
Shoulder injury as well. And I think every time someone doubted Hurts, he stepped up in the moment. He got the Eagles to the Super Bowl and put up 4 touchdowns against Mahomes, who already has a championship. I know he's not playing defense, but biggest stage, Jalen Hurts has stepped up, and not knocking Joe Burrow, but maybe a little bit recency bias, sure. But Jalen Hurts gets discredited every time. And I think, you know, it's time he gets his flowers from being benched in a, you know, NCAA title game to, you know, going to Oklahoma to being the last quarterback of that tier kind of drafted in his draft class.
Yeah, 2nd round.
And now being able to just go out, wasn't even a starter at first, go out, he wasn't accurate. What did he do last year? He was accurate. I think, how many picks he have? Single digits.
Yeah, well, I think he had like 4.
Yeah, 4 picks.
3 or 4 picks.
I mean, come on. He didn't put up 40 touchdowns like Mahomes, but, I mean, Jalen Hurts does whatever he's asked to do and then some. And at a quarterback position, that's all you can do. He led his team to wins, which I think is important on the scale, maybe not the only thing. But he made those tough throws. Sure, he might not be the most accurate, or Joe Burrow may be a little more accurate. Well, Hurts makes up for it with his athleticism, his size, and just his ability to progress throughout the years. I think, you know, he can only go forward again this year. So I got him, you know, potentially being one of the best quarterbacks in the league in that MVP conversation once again.
I'm not going to argue. Jalen Hurts is the 2nd best quarterback. So
I knew you wouldn't argue that, but it definitely, I was like, man, Burrow, and maybe I'm a little biased because I watch Burrow and he absolutely sucks against the Browns most of the time. But
yeah, I agree. I just think Burrow is just a better pure passer of the football. And going into this ranking, I kind of
You went with the pure pat. See,
because at the end of the day, that's the most important part of being a quarterback. When you got to step back, you got to make the throws when it matters. When teams know you're throwing, can you make that throw? And I just think Joe Burrow, is just a better thrower of the football than Jalen Hurts. Now, I completely agree. Bringing in athletics, if we bring it in, running the ball and being able to play make outside of the pocket and do all that other stuff, 100%, I'm with you. Jalen Hurts is better and brings more to the table on that side. But in terms of being a quarterback and throwing the ball and making the reads, I think Joe Burrow is better.
Yeah. Here's my thing. That's where I think that, yeah, sure, Joe Burrow, better passer. But bringing to the table what helps team wins games. Like you said, maybe, 3rd and 20, they're passing. Just, it's hard to say don't get in those situations, but, a quarterback with a little bit more athleticism has a chance to escape the pocket when there's pressure where Joe Burrow might not be able to go out, get a 4-yard gain versus a 8-9 yard loss. So I think it all contributes to the game in, similar ways. And yeah, sure, the quarterback is, the gunslinger position. You got to be able to throw it. Look, 20 years ago, there was no athletic quarterbacks, maybe 25 years ago nowadays, but it wasn't really a thing. Now we're opening up the game. Sure, it makes them get hurt more, but, we go up and down our list. We got Hurts, we had Lamar, we had Allen, we had Herbert, who's, mobile. We had T-Law, who's mobile. Rodgers, who in his career, definitely mobile. The only pocket-present quarterbacks that you had on your list was, Cousins and Burrow.
Yeah.
So all the other guys, maybe not to the degree where Hurts and Allen do it, but Herbert gets out of the pocket. T-Law gets out of the pocket. Even Tua sometimes could get out of the pocket a little bit. I know he was on my list, probably not. But Dak, he can get out of the pocket as well. So I think it goes hand in hand on what brings this team closer to winning. Maybe that's what I wanted to do. Instead of just winning, what gives your team the advantage to win football games?
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I agree. Just for me personally, I think that passing ability is what puts these players over the hump. Because you mentioned, I do agree, because, guys like Geno Smith, like Jared Goff, even Tua, who he's a little mobile, but more of a pocket passer in the pocket. It's kind of why these guys get left off the list, because they're not as explosive and stuff. But when you look at the top of the list, when you look at the Joe Burrows, when you look at the Patrick Mahomes, the Jalen Hurts, the Josh Allens, what's the reason we think all of these guys are really good quarterbacks? It's because they're able to make plays with the ball through the air. Yeah, running is important and really good. If that was the case, we would have had Justin Fields on this list. We would have Anthony Richardson as a top 10 quarterback. Because
Richardson hasn't even played a game yet, so we can't even put him on.
In terms of running, he's the most athletic and craziest prospect we ever seen in the NFL. So I'm sure running the ball won't be an issue for him. It's throwing the ball, it's being able to read defenses and make plays. And I think that's just why Patrick Mahomes is at such an elite level and just a step above everyone else. It's not because Patrick Mahomes is faster than Jalen Hurts. It's not because he's bigger and runs more than Josh Allen. He's not more elusive than Lamar Jackson. He makes better throws.
He is elusive.
He is, but that's not what makes him special.
And you got to think that
in terms of being a quarterback,
his arm talent, but it's the throws he's able to make out the pocket.
Like you mentioned, the throws, 100%.
But you have to be able to get to that degree, I get what you're saying.
Think
it's sort of like that baseball mentality. I watched, the quarterback show where he's like, I go out there, I feel like I'm a shortstop. I just go back there and sling it, I run out and making the crazy on the run throws that, in the unique left hand shovel pass, little dump off, whatever it is. It's just he has a knack for. Comparing these other quarterbacks to Patrick Mahomes is almost unfair.
It is.
So
it is unfair because he can do both at such a high level.
Yeah, exactly.
In the pocket, he's the best quarterback in the league. Outside of the pocket, he's the best quarterback in the league.
So it's that's why, Is Joe Burrow better than Hurts inside the pocket? Yeah. Is Hurts better outside the pocket? Yes. But I think that leeway between Burrow and Hurts is that door is kind of shrinking when it comes to passing and what Hurts was able to do last year. Just the most important thing, taking care of the football, man. I mean, he did it, limited the picks. Can he limit those fumbles like the one in the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know, but if the season ends and, Hurts is maybe 3 right behind, Burrow, would I be shocked? No. But I think what Hurts proved last year and what he did deserved him to give him that little 2 nod. And I know you as a Philly fan, you wanted to be, as unbiased as you can, but I don't like Philly. I could care less about, the Philadelphia Eagles or Jalen Hurts. But he proved wrong for the whole season. And as a quarterback, when you got that dog in you and you go out there and compete.
Yeah.
I mean, and Joe Burrow obviously has that too. You mentioned his clutch gene.
Mm-hmm.
So, with those guys, it really just shakes up when you could go that 2 through 3. I mean, possibly 4, but whatever. And, if Herbert ends up at the top of the list, would I be shocked? No. But I got him 8 preseason.
Get ready to not be shocked, fam. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, when Watson's number 3, I just want everyone to.
I'm going to be shocked. Like that.
At least
so you just want to let's read through it one more time. Just give you.
Go ahead.
You go from 1 to 10. Go ahead. Give your top 10.
Number 1, I got Mahomes. 2, Hurts. 3, Joe Burrow. 4, Lamar. Number 5, Josh Allen. 6, Tua. 7, Trevor Lawrence. 8, Justin Herbert. 9, Aaron Rodgers. And number 10, soon to be hired, Deshaun Watson.
All right, and so then my top 10 QBs. Number 1, obviously Patrick Mahomes. At 2, I got Joe Burrow. 3, Justin Herbert. 4, Josh Allen. 5, Jalen Hurts. 6, I got Trevor Lawrence. 7, Lamar Jackson. 8, Aaron Rodgers. 9, Dak Prescott. 10, Kirk Cousins.